The new GTA Online Mansions DLC is finally out, and while this is essentially supposed to be endgame content, a sort of retirement home for our GTA Online protagonist after all these years of grinding, what's surprising is that we don't really have any cool clothing items or weapons, or even a big collection of brand new cars to choose from, which might make you think, apart from the basic mansions themselves, that there's really not anything worth buying in this DLC. But you would be wrong, because not only does each mansion come with a bevy of optional upgrades that significantly impact your quality of life, but the introduction of the new business production boost and fast travel has changed how you play certain types of content. So while on the surface it might seem like there aren't a whole lot of secondary purchases to make in addition to your basic mansion, I've actually got a list here of the top 10 things that you should spend your money on right now, and I'll discuss those inside of this video. Some of these items are introduced inside of this DLC, and some others are existing items that have been further improved by this new DLC. But either way, I can guarantee that all of them are definitely worth your hard-earned GTA dollars. First, let's talk about the mansions themselves, because if you have something like $40 million in disposable income, you can literally grab all of them off the pre-luxury real estate website now, but for the sake of argument, let's assume you can only choose one. Or maybe you only have the cash for one mansion. In that case, which mansion is the best? There are three options: Tongva Valley Estate, which is just Devin Weston's old place from story mode, Richmond Villa, and the Vinewood Residence. Interior layouts are pretty much identical between these three, which is a bit of a bummer, as they're all based on the same basic Devin Weston mansion model anyways. I was really hoping that there would be more variety in the interior design and that we'd also get more detailed furnishing options, but it is what it is. We do have some unique water features and pool designs though that can change from mansion to mansion, but other than that, aesthetically, they're all a very close match. So I guess it ultimately comes down to the view you have, as well as pricing. The place on Tongva Hills is definitely the cheapest at just $9.5 million for the basic house with the pre-luxury gold tier discount, and I'd say it also has the best view of them all, as it's really close to the ocean and you can even see your yacht from the windows of the house if it's parked out there next to the beach. However, the Tongva Estate is also the furthest mansion from the city. Not that it really matters, because you do have the best fast travel system in the game now with these new properties, but it's still something to consider. The Richmond Villa and Vinewood residences are both positioned right on top of Los Santos and both have good highway access, allowing you to go anywhere you want within seconds. If you go with the Vinewood location, you get the big Vinewood sign and a slightly more isolated neighborhood. If you choose Richmond, you get to be Minnie Madrazo's neighbor, and he'll even message you about it. Conversely, if you pick up Tongva Hills, Mike will have some unique lines of dialogue about the previous owner, Devin Weston, which I think is a nice little touch and good attention to detail. As for parking space, you get 20 per mansion, totaling 60 if you buy all three. And no, moving one of your vehicles into the driveway or even the podium on display does not free up a garage slot, even though logically it should. So what do you actually get in terms of features with a basic mansion, without any of the fancy upgrades? Well, you get this helipad right here, which is nice. Then you also get a free AI assistant who comes in one of three flavors. Every mansion also comes with a free master control terminal, as well as that 20-car garage. Then, as a nice little bonus on top, you get pet houses, a spa to lower your mental state, a beauty salon where you can get a full makeover for your character, an indoor pool, an outdoor pool, a home gym to get a temporary strength boost, yoga mats that grant a temporary speed boost, a fast travel system that can take you to any property, business, or service vehicle that you own, and you also get a luxury helicopter service as well as luxury car service while exiting your mansion. And you also get the business production speed boost, which lasts for 24 hours and it increases the production speed of your MC businesses, bunker, or acid lab by 200%, all included with a basic mansion. Pretty good, right? However, it can get even better. You see, if you go into the options while renovating your mansion, there's this tab called Security, which is the most expensive single upgrade that you can get for it. It costs $1,750,000, and I've seen a lot of folks buy it right up just because of the vibes, thinking that it's just a cosmetic change where you get a few NPC guards standing around the place. However, what this security upgrade actually does is it completely eliminates raids from your MC businesses, your nightclub, and your bunker. Yes, you heard that right. No more raids ever again. That alone makes it the most value for money upgrade in this whole update in my opinion, but your mileage may vary depending on how your businesses are configured. The way it works is mansion security stacks on top of your existing business security upgrades. So for example, let's take the bunker. If you already spent money on the bunker security, you've already reduced your chances of raids happening there once your stock crosses that critical 50% level. But then if you go ahead and you add mansion security as well, now your bunker is totally raid proof. Conversely, if none of your businesses have any security upgrades and you rely on the good old disbanding technique to eliminate the chance of raids, then you'll still get a decent bit of anti-raid protection by purchasing the mansion security, as it will function similarly to business security, only in this case, it's applied globally across all of your businesses with just one purchase. Now again, it won't completely stop special cargo warehouse raids, as those properties don't have their own security and you don't have the option to equip your warehouses with security, but with the mansion security upgrade, it will still reduce the likelihood of a warehouse raid happening, which is rare anyway, since most people have less than 70% stock probably in their warehouses right now, and that's going to keep them under the raid threshold regardless. Next, you should also buy the vehicle workshop in your mansion, which gives you a vehicle tuning option right inside your house in the basement level for $880,000. This means you can just buy a car, send it to your mansion garage, and add all the mods you want right there at home without having to drive to an auto shop or LS Customs. That in itself is pretty neat, but it becomes even better if you're a GTA Plus member, because now your mansion's vehicle workshop functions similarly to the one in the Vinewood Car Club garage, where you get to apply the HSW and Benny's upgrades to your cars without actually having to drive to Howe's Workshop or Benny's Motorworks. You can even install drift tuning and missile lock-on jammers over here in your mansion's vehicle workshop if you have GTA Plus, and for just $880,000, that is a nice quality of life feature to have right there. Item number 4 that you should buy is the new Sentinel XS4, one of 3 new cars introduced with the Safe House in the Hills Mansions DLC, at least for those of you without GTA Plus, because if you have GTA Plus, you also get early access to the Vapid FMJ Mark V, as well as the Progen Luiva. So, the Sentinel XS4. Why do I recommend this car? Well, basically, it's an E39 BMW 5 Series, and you can tune it to look exactly like an M5 from that era, which gives it an automatic 9 out of 10 in terms of cool factor right there. Visually, I think it's a very clean yet bold design that still holds up today, even though it's from the late 90s and early 2000s. And while the XS4 won't blow your socks off in terms of straight line acceleration or top speed, it is an exceptional drift car. It has a ton of torque, and I can already tell there's going to be a future drift tune coming in for this car at some point, because we've seen those for similar Ubermacht vehicles, but this one is just a naturally good car to drift. It's just naturally inclined to do so. It really loves to rev, and it has snap oversteer almost from a standing start as soon as you turn that steering wheel. And what's cool about the XS4 is that it stays controllable even after you go into a slide. And I've tried it on the tarmac, on dry pavement, in the rain, I've tried it in the sand, basically on every terrain, and it feels super good to drift no matter what. The handling isn't precise like a Sentinel XS, and it probably won't win you any races. However, I think that the XS4 is an excellent car just for drifting or goofing around in free roam because of how responsive and alive it feels. Plus, you have that sweet, naturally aspirated 4.9 liter V8 in this car with that raspy growl, and it just pops and bangs every time you let off the throttle or downshift, and I think it's easily one of the best sounding engines in the game. But if drifting around in a sedan isn't really your thing and you're more of a track-focused supercar guy, then you probably want the Vapid FMJ Mark V. The original FMJ, while very fast, is certainly not in the leagues of the Emrys or Niobe, and it's a bit of a weird hybrid with the front taken from an Aston Martin Vulcan and then the rear end from a Ford GT. However, with this new Mark V variant, it's much more focused in its design, and it's a track version of the new 2016 Ford GT. I think it looks better than the OG FMJ, and it's faster too, with a top speed of over 155 miles an hour once you throw on some HSW upgrades onto it. And not only does the Mark V trounce the HSW Niobe in lap times, but it even beats out the previous supercar reigning champion, the HSW weaponized Ignis, according to Bruffy1322's testing. In fact, the only car that is faster than the FMJ Mark V around a track is the BR8, and that's an open wheel F1 style car that falls apart as soon as it hits a speed bump or a ditch. At $2.9 million, the FMJ Mark V is over $1 million more expensive than its predecessor, but that's money well spent because it's over $1 million faster as well. And now for something that isn't actually a part of the Mansions DLC, but is worth buying nonetheless, as it's been recently buffed with a missile lock-on jammer. I'm talking about the Iron Mule, which the grinders among you might know as one of the best cargo helicopters in the game, as not only can it carry more weight than the Cargo Bob, but it also climbs faster and has a much higher top speed of about 140 miles an hour to be precise. But now you can install a missile lock-on jammer on this heli, which functions alongside the regular countermeasures it has, so if someone tries to hit you with manual mode, you can still pop those flares and distract the missiles, making the Iron Mule one of the most survivable helicopters in the game now for doing bunker and nightclub deliveries. Just hook up your Insurgent or Pounder custom, activate Ghost Org, and fly to the destination in 4 minutes or less. That's an easy way to grab the high demand bonus in public lobbies without risking the loss of your cargo. And we have two other old items that I want you guys to seriously consider now that we have mansions with 24-hour production speed boosts. The first of these old items is the Acid Lab, something that's always been an S tier business for solo grinders in the game since its introduction, but now it's even better than before, as you can stack the Acid Lab production boost with the mansion speed boost, and you can crank out a full bar of product in just 1 hour. That's right, 1 hour for a full bar of product worth $351,000 in a solo lobby. And the next business to take advantage of that production speed boost from the mansion DLC is the bunker. I've already discussed in my bunker guide on how to get a single cell vehicle each time, but it basically boils down to you buy exactly 1 bar of supplies, wait 2 hours and 20 minutes, sell with just 1 vehicle for $210,000, but now that 2-hour, 20-minute timer has been cut down to just 46 minutes, and a full bunker can be stuffed with product in just 3 hours and 50 minutes total, which pays you over $1 million. That's just insane to even think about. So if you haven't purchased a bunker and you own a mansion, buy one right now. It's the easiest passive grind you will ever do. For item number 9, we have the Volidus helicopter, which at 161 miles an hour is one of the fastest helicopters in GTA Online right now behind the Sparrow, but you can have your very own $2.3 million Volidus helicopter for free. So technically, you're not required to actually purchase anything. And this is how you do it. First, grab the free Volidus from your mansion's helipad, and you can do this by approaching one of the many terminals and selecting the luxury helicopter exit. Then fly that Volidus to your hangar, where a copy of it is stored forever. And the cool thing is that you can summon it as a personal helicopter from your aircraft menu after that. And finally, we have the Grotti GT750, which is a very classic sports car here with a mean growl and some truly amazing handling. It costs just $1.2 million, making it the bargain of a lifetime for what you're getting. It's basically a Ferrari 365 Daytona, and it even has the authentic wood paneling on the interior and the old school dials and gauges on the dash, which is just awesome to look at whenever you're driving around in first person. Compared to the Sentinel XS, this one's a little bit more of a racer, and it has superior acceleration and top speed. Braking isn't as good as expected from an old car like this, however it still feels nimble on the street and light with just a tiny hint of understeer if you're going really fast around a turn. If only this thing were to get an HSW upgrade though. I reckon it could beat the mighty Turismo Classic honestly, as right now it doesn't have the engine grunt to match the excellent suspension and the chassis. But with that all out of the way, those are my top 10 must buys from this new Mansions DLC. We're gonna get several more cars via the drip feed from Rockstar, but right now there honestly isn't a whole lot of new stuff to buy other than the mansions themselves. Still, a bunch of old stuff has now been made even better with this DLC, like the bunker and the Acid Lab, so I'm not gonna complain too much. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like on this video if you found it informative. Subscribe to the channel if you are new and you want to see more GTA 5 online content just like this. And please consider checking me out over on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, specifically twitch.tv/hazardoushdtv for more GTA Online money grinding live streams. I'm live every single day playing this DLC. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys in the next GTA Online video. Adios, amigos.